So today I'm going to share with you a tactic that I learned in therapy that helped me diffuse some situations in my life where I had an urge to react. But in the end, my reaction was not going to be effective or understood by those around me. So I wanted to share this free of charge because there may be someone out there that just can't afford therapy or needs to know how to deal with issues that come up with borderline personality disorder. Believe me, most people that have BPD don't want it. And they want to change. There really is good intentions there, but there's just not a lot of resources, especially free ones, and not everyone can afford therapy. So stay tuned as we dive deep into some things that I learned that helped me calm down when I had urges to react. Opposite action is a tool that is taught in DBT therapy. It is a great tool to help us change our reactions, to change our emotions in intense moments. Because it is in these moments that our emotions are not going to be effective to express anyways. So with borderline personality disorder, emotions typically guide us into our actions. Emotions basically control us, especially when we are provoked. So the thing you learn once you get into therapy is how to do the opposite action. And that you can actually change your emotion, that you don't have to act on the very emotion that you are feeling. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at first I had mixed feelings on this tactic because in some ways it felt like I was not being authentic. When something provokes me, I wanna be able to communicate that. I'm just being real with how I feel in a certain situation. You know, I'm the type of person where you know exactly where you stand with me. I don't typically hide how I feel. And I always thought that that was a good thing because I didn't talk about people behind their back. I would say it to their face. And I felt like at least I was being honest with them on exactly how I felt. Reality is we always have emotions, but we do not have to express them. Now, what I have found is that fear, anger, and shame, with these three emotions, borderlines typically base those emotions on assumptions or those emotions come up too intense. We're not able to properly express those emotions for other people to receive. So let me give you an example. Let's say someone is driving really, really slow. Okay, I used to get triggered by this all the time. I would start letting it consume my mind. I would start making judgments about the other person. I would let it build up until I just exploded. Until I had kids that started driving and I saw that they needed extra time to learn. So now when I see a slow driver or a driver that's making a mistake, I don't get so mad because I just sit there and think, what if my son was in there? He's learning, he's going to make mistakes. But before he drove, my first reaction was to always rage because I was making assumptions and judgments about why the person was going so slow. I never considered what the actual facts may be. I had to train myself to use opposite action. I didn't want to be the person that had road rage. I didn't want to be the person that allowed others' choices to affect my commute. I would even get this way with other people in the car, and it just made for an intense car ride. I didn't want to be this person, yet I continued to allow other people's driving to affect my day. So in this case, I knew that my end result was to be understanding and realize that others make mistakes. You know, when my daughter started driving, she got over one time without even checking, and thank goodness the car behind her was not tailgating. Now, they of course honked, which upset her, but it was that moment that I realized I was that person that would get upset. So I told myself the next time someone's driving and a mistake happened, I would not react to it. I would not allow myself to get mad. Instead, I would just justify it in my mind that maybe it was a student driver, or maybe it was someone who didn't know the roads like I did, and maybe it was unfamiliar for them and they were just trying to search for where to turn or where to go. I mean, I have definitely been in that situation where I know I didn't know where I was going and I was in unfamiliar territory and I was going slower on back roads than people that drive them every day. My point is, I started thinking of reasons why the other driver may be performing those actions and understanding we all make mistakes. We all have times where we know the area and then there are times where we don't. And at the end of the day, no matter what is going on in the other car, I am not going to let it affect what's going on in my car. I interpreted the situation in a different way. It doesn't mean that I'm not being authentic. It's just that I changed my viewpoint to support the other person versus attacking them. So what are the steps to doing opposite action in other scenarios? Well, first identify what emotion you want to change. I've said this in many of my other videos. The key to controlling borderline reactions is slowing down. So slow down before you react to something and see what emotion it is that it's even coming up and figure out what you want to change. You can identify it. The next thing is to check the facts. So when you're doing this, you want to check the intensity of the emotion that you are feeling and the length at which you are feeling the emotion. And does it match the scenario that's happening? So let's say someone changed lanes quickly without their turn signal, okay? Identify what urges you are having based on the emotion that you are feeling. Do you want to rage and get upset and cuss and honk at the person, or roll down your window and yell at them, or cut them off and give them a taste of their own medicine? You may very well have all of those urges when the emotion of anger comes up. It can be quite intense. But if you act on these emotions, you could very well get in a wreck. Someone could stop and fight back. You could find that you have a bad day the rest of your day because you let it consume your mind. There's all kinds of ways it could play out. So this is where opposite action comes in. It allows you to identify what urges you are having and see if they match the scenario. And it allows you time to think of alternative ways to react. So what if you did, in fact, do the opposite action of all of those urges you were feeling? And instead of acting on those urges, you let go of the anger and frustration. And understand, there may be a new driver in the car in front of you making a silly mistake. And that by letting it go, you can still make it to your destination safe and sound with no need to get upset or to cause a scene by doing the exact opposite of how you want to react. You find you diffuse the situation. You may always find by doing this that when you reach your destination, let's say you're going to work, when you get there, you were able to complete the opposite action that when you get to work, you may feel like you're in a calm state. Versus if you had acted on those urges, you may be upset, frustrated, or angry because you carried it the whole car ride. And now it's going to affect the rest of your day at work. Opposite action works in certain situations, and you will find the more times you practice, it becomes more habitual. It allows you to stay in control of those emotions, which is a huge asset in the world of borderline personality disorder. So try it out and let me know how it works for you. I put out videos every Sunday on borderline personality disorder. It is my mission to spread awareness of this disorder in order for as many people as possible to receive the help that they need. You are more than welcome to email me if you have any questions or want to share your story. I will leave my email in the description below. I look forward to seeing y'all in my next video. Mwah.